Welcome to Salisbury University on the Air, a program highlighting the activities and the people of the campus. My name is Susan Purnell. 30 years ago, aviation pioneer Richard A. Henson endowed Salisbury University School of Science and Technology with a multi-million-dollar gift. Since then, Mr. Henson and the foundation he established to continue his generosity have maintained its support for the school. Recently, the Richard A. Henson Foundation announced a $2.5 million gift to fund several new initiatives and enhance those established by Mr. Henson 3 decades ago. Here to provide details are Vic Laws, Chair of the Foundation's Board of Trustees, and Dr. Karen Olmstead, SU Interim Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs. First is Vic. So welcome, Vic.
Thank you.
Love the tie. Perfect. You got that from Janet when you were celebrating this gift, right?
Right. When we made the gift announcement,
Yeah.
the university gave all of our trustees these SU ties.
They're fantastic.
And it's a very nice looking tie.
It
I'm
really
proud to
is.
wear it.
It really is.
Yeah.
So for those people who don't know about Richard Henson, tell us a little bit about him and how he came to the area.
He was a really interesting guy. He was born in 1910, and his hometown was Hagerstown.
Mm-hmm.
But early on, he developed this interest in flying. And by the early 1930s, he had bought a plane. He went in with 3 other partners, $375 apiece, and they bought this $1,500 plane. This was in the really early years of aviation, and pretty soon he was running a flying service. He was running a base operation. He was giving flying lessons. He was flying people from place to place. And then he became a test pilot for Fairchild Aviation, where he had a lot of interesting experiences and was apparently very effective at testing their new aircraft. And
He flew well into his 80s, didn't he?
I think he did, from what I understand.
I know my dad went up in a plane with him. I'm going to say he might have been 80. I don't know. And Dad was like, am I crazy? I said, I think the guy knows a lot about planes. I think you're pretty good.
He really did.
And he was sharp as a tack then. Amazing.
There's a funny story that earlier when he was a test pilot, something was going wrong. I think the landing gear wouldn't come down or something, and he was going to have to do like a crash landing. And his mother, who was a very successful, she had a dress shop or a hat shop or something in downtown Hagerstown. They called her and they said, don't you want to come out to the airfield because Dick is in trouble? And she said, nah, he's an excellent pilot. Things are going to be fine. And she wouldn't even come out to the field to see him do this crash landing because she had so much confidence in his ability as a pilot. By 1962, he had started a commuter airline, which became Henson Aviation, and that became, I guess...
Did he sell it to Piedmont next?
Yeah, it became part of Allegheny, became Piedmont. Piedmont became U.S. Air. U.S. Air became American Airlines. And ultimately, ultimately he sold out and made a lot of money that found its way into the foundation, and that's the basis of our charitable giving today.
Yeah.
But he really was kind of an aircraft, I guess I should say an aviation pioneer, because he started this hub and spoke so-called system where the commuter airlines would get people from small towns like Salisbury and Hagerstown to the major metropolitan hubs, where they would use the large air carriers, whoever they were of the day, to get to get to the other major cities. So he kind of pioneered that whole concept.
Yeah, I'd love to hear him now with the jets that are going to be coming into Salisbury. You know, he'd be so proud of that.
I think he'd be really pleased at the progress.
And
I've heard really good things about our new airport manager. He'd probably be really proud that we're continuing to further, the development of our airport that way.
Well, he was a very, very generous supporter of this community and of SU in particular. And he set up a foundation so that his money could continue to be used in perpetuity. And you are chairman of that foundation. Tell me a little bit about the foundation's goals.
Well, the foundation, I'm not sure we have a mission statement per se, but I would say our fields of interest kind of break down into 3 major areas: education, youth, and community improvement. And then kind of beneath those broad aims, we look for certain things. We try to be a catalyst for positive change. And now, often that means that we don't give the entire grant. We give a challenge grant, and we ask the organization to try to raise a lot of matching funds on their own so that we're not the only one with skin in the game. We look for unmet community needs. We look for vulnerable populations that need some support. We try to do things that we like to use the phrase a hand up, not a hand out. Christian ideals were important to Mr. Henson, and so we support programs that further Christian ideals and values. And we look for programs like SU and others that have a track record of results that that can take our funds and really produce something positive out of them.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the SU grant that was given recently, but before that, what other community initiatives has the foundation embarked on?
It's a long list. I mean, I'll just give you.
Well, I know the YMCA, which, by the way, I
Yeah.
just joined, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't believe I never joined that before. I mean, like in the last month, joined the YMCA.
Well,
Fantastic.
they're not even done yet because they're going to do a multi-million-dollar warm water pool, which is going to help a lot of
that'll be great.
adults and children learn to swim because a high percentage of people in this community don't know how to swim.
Isn't it funny being so close to the water?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't. And so that's going to be another major project. And it's again one that the Henson Foundation is supporting. But kind of under those broad headings that I gave you before, there's a lot of them. Under education, for instance, we've supported Salisbury University, not just with this new grant, but he endowed the Henson School of Science and Technology in the first place. We have an active scholarship program, the Henson Scholars. There's over 200 Henson Scholars at Salisbury University. And one of the best things that the trustees get to do each year is to go to the Scholars Luncheon and hear about their accomplishments. Now, we don't understand half of their accomplishments.
Right, because it's all science and techie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mr. Henson understood early the importance of science, technology, engineering, and math. We hear a lot about that STEM acronym today.
Right.
That probably wasn't even a phrase that anybody had coined back then, but he kind of appreciated the importance of that early.
And is that the reason, do you think, why he did want to be a part of the founding of the School of Technology and Science? Because he just thought it was underserved?
I definitely think so. I mean, I think there was a natural affinity between his interest in aviation and science, technology, engineering, and math. And he was kind of he had an early understanding of kind of the way the country was falling behind in producing engineers and scientists. But in addition to Salisbury University and its programs, the foundation has supported Warwick Community College with its capital campaigns. It has a very active program at UMES, 300 scholarship students to date there.
That's a lot.
Junior achievement, again, kind of in that educational vein. And then, with youth, there's always been very strong support by Mr. Henson and later on the Foundation for Scouting, including the Henson Scout Reservation in the Sharptown area. The YMCA, like we talked about. Big Brothers, Big Sisters is a big part of that. The Epoch Dream Center is like a after-school program that I think it feeds some 60 kids every day.
Is that here in Salisbury? I've never even heard
That's
of it.
in Hebron, but I think they're looking to expand into other areas. But it's a really good model that I think gives a hot meal to about 60 kids every evening, 5 nights a week. It's really kind of incredible what they are doing out there. Young Life being another one. And in terms of community impact, the foundation has supported PRMC, its Cancer Support Center that just opened in Ocean Pines. We're about to announce a research institute at PRMC in the Henson name. Christian Shelter, the Chesapeake Housing Mission, Habitat for Humanity, literacy initiatives with the public library and others, Coastal Hospice, the Lower Shore Clinic, Dove Point Resource Recovery Center is an addiction program. And I could go on and on.
Yeah.
It's a long list.
There's just not much that he hasn't touched, either he personally or with his foundation that you lead. And I'm so impressed because I had no idea the extent of it, before I came here today. So you said he endowed the School of Science and Technology in 1987.
Right.
I think then again on the 10th anniversary, he gave another $1 million to update some of the equipment in that school. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what I understand. I wasn't on the foundation back then. But a big part of this new gift, we just announced a couple of weeks ago the $2.5 million gift on the 30th anniversary of the original gift. And much of that will go, or a significant part of that will go to replace critical lab equipment and that kind of thing, and also to allow for the creation of something they're calling the High Performance Computing Lab. I don't know exactly what that means, but it's a multidisciplinary thing. It's my understanding it'll be used by math scholars in all different fields: math, geography, biology, physics, and chemistry. So it's a much needed enhancement for both faculty and students there.
So in 2011, the foundation also endowed the Medical Simulation Project. Is that what it's called? And tell us a little bit about that.
Well, again, that kind of aligned well with the Henson Foundation and Mr. Henson's original interest in science and technology. So it also, what I understand they do is they use mannequins for reality-based, they try to simulate actual medical situations.
They do. I watched the birthing of a baby.
Yeah, and I've seen them do interviews with patients, and they've had actors come in and simulate certain people who have medical situations.
It's incredible.
It's a very real-life simulation, which I guess is why simulation is in the name. But it aligns well with the nursing shortage that we had for a while. I think it furthers, you know, our community has a pretty active healthcare field, so I think this helps serve employers who are in that industry. It's my understanding that SU nursing graduates place really well on state admissions tests, licensing tests, better than, you know, bigger named schools who are known for that kind of thing. So
no one gets hurt.
It's a real cutting edge program.
Yeah.
Right. It's a simulation. So
right. Yeah. It's great.
It's a great program.
Practice situation for them. So how do you think Mr. Henson would feel now, looking at all these things that he's accomplished?
I think he'd have to be really proud at everything that's being carried on in his name.
I do too.
Not only by the foundation, but the things he did originally. I kind of hope he might even be a little bit amazed at the growth, because I think we've given away some $30 million in total between him and the foundation over the not quite 30 years, but let's just say 30 years for sake of argument.
So $1 million a year.
Yeah, and more recently, more than that.
It's pretty much stayed very local, hasn't it?
Yeah,
yeah.
It's kind of in the Tri-County region, but it's very much in this community. And 30 million in total, and about 2 million last year, and 52 grant recipients last year. So it's really spread around. Some of it goes to major institutions like, you know, the Salisbury Universities of the world, the PRMCs, those kind of grantees. But a lot of the organizations we support are much smaller, like some that I mentioned earlier.
Christian Shelter, yeah, right.
Right.
In announcing the foundation's $2.5 million gift, you referred to Dr. Janet and her impact on the college over these past 17 years. Do you want to expound on that a little bit?
It's how much time do we have?
I know. I agree with you. I agree with you. She's my hero. She's amazing.
What she's done here is amazing. It's hard to know where to start, but you know, I'll give you kind of a fun fact that I'll start with. If you look at the website, Salisbury University website, and you look at her bio, you can read a lot about her career and her impact here at Salisbury University. But one of the things I like is she has these top 8 lists. I don't know whether you've ever noticed that, but she has a list of her top beaches, music, books, movies. I just think that's interesting. She's just an interesting person.
She's such a down-to-earth person.
Yeah.
And her sense of humor is so great that she endears herself to everybody that she meets, I think. I just think we're going to miss her.
Yeah. The things that she has accomplished here, and of course she's building on some of her predecessors, like Tom Bellavance was a really good president of this university. And some of the academic improvement probably dates back to him. He raised a lot of standards, but she has continued that. So on the academic front, you know, she picked up where Bellavance left off with the Honors College. There's an emphasis on Fulbright and other fellowships, so there's a high percentage of kids from this university have gone on to those kind of things. She's raised faculty salaries, which I think has helped the academic profile. The population of students here has gone from like 6,400 to 8,700 in her time here. The campus has grown from 114 acres to 220. It's
Doubled.
amazing to me, 59 buildings to 89 buildings, and some of them are so large, I would have thought that the actual count of buildings was going down, but the size of the buildings was going up.
It just makes the whole community proud.
No question about it. And how much more beautiful is the campus than it
Absolutely.
was back in those days.
And it takes a Dickenson and a Guerreri family and a Purdue family to make it happen as well. And so, you know, kudos to Mr. Henson for seeing, you know, the impact that he could have on this college and this community. And thank you for keeping it going.
Well, I appreciate that. It's unique, I think, among public universities like this to have so many endowed schools. You have the Henson School,
Right.
but you also have Seidel and Guerreri.
Seidel, right.
And Purdue, obviously. So, and the foundation, I think you're on the board of the foundation. During Janet's time here, the foundation is about three times what it was when she came.
Yeah.
So by any measure, whether it's town-gown relations, you know, the way the campus has expanded east and south and avoided impacts to the Claremont and the Camden neighborhood, the way that it's expanded, by any measure, she's just been an extraordinary leader.
That's really true. It's just amazing what she has done to encourage that community town-gown relation.
Yeah, she's just been the kind of leader that Dick Henson would recognize.
Yeah,
I mean,
I believe so too.
he was really a dynamic leader, and we see a dynamic leader here too. She's really just kind of transformed this place.
Yeah, I think they're both people that never sleep. Or else they would never have accomplished all they have, right?
I think you're right.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being here today, Vic. It's just so great to see you and to talk to you about this great man and this great university and our community that has prospered because of him.
Well, thanks for having us. All of our
Absolutely.
trustees are really proud of what we've
You
accomplished.
should be.
Thanks so much.
Very good. And now, looking ahead, here are some of the events at the university in December. My next guest is Dr. Karen Olmstead, SU Interim Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs. So welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
Good
I'm
to
delighted
see
to be
you.
here.
Yes. So I know you're now the interim provost,
Yeah.
but you were the dean of the Henson School for 9 years,
Yes,
I think, right?
that's right. That's
so
right.
you're the expert. Tell us a little bit about the school itself, the majors, the departments.
Sure. So the Henson School is one of the largest schools on campus at Salisbury University. Has 13 undergraduate programs and 6 graduate programs, including a doctoral program in nursing practice.
When you say that program, do you mean degrees?
13 different degrees, right? And the most recent one is a bachelor's degree in urban and regional planning. So we just launched that this fall. We're very excited about that. Yep, but ranging from biology to physics to medical lab sciences. There are all sorts of programs.
So I just asked Vic about the medical simulation program. Is
Yep.
that a part of the Henson School?
Yep, the Henson Medical Simulation Center is a high fidelity. That means like super lifelike, maybe more lifelike than you can imagine. And that's
I've seen it.
Yeah,
It's totally. I saw a baby being born. I'm telling you
exactly,
there.
very
Yeah.
realistic.
Yeah, cried and everything.
Exactly, breathed. So that facility was the result of a lot of hard work by the faculty and the administration at the university, and also the result of a naming gift from the Henson Foundation, $1 million naming gift in 2011. And so that facility serves all our students in our healthcare programs, but also serves practicing healthcare professionals in our region for their continuing education needs, and also students at UMES that are in maybe pharmacy programs or physical therapy programs, and that's through our Eastern Shore Interprofessional Collaborative for Interprofessional Education. So we have a lot of amazing things going on there.
A lot of uses
Yep.
for that.
Yep.
And it's just a very impressive
Yep.
for people who
Yep.
haven't seen it, a very impressive facility.
Yep.
Now, this latest gift,
Yep.
I understand part of it is going to establish a computer lab.
Yep.
Explain what's going to go on there.
So anybody could guess the importance of computers has changed over time, but really the types of computers now, we're in the era of big data, and so we need what are called computers that can do parallel processing or process large amounts of data at the same time. So often we'll be putting huge data sets into the computer, or we have problems that are so computationally intensive we need these massive arrays of computers that simultaneously can process the data. So we're building that center. We also have over 230 computer science majors, so we need more space for them. It's such a high demand field in our region that we really need to serve them well. So the lab is going to have 30 seats. It'll be used for teaching and also for faculty and student research.
But beyond just the sciences, will there be any other uses for the lab?
Yep, for sure. So you mentioned the sciences, so it's going to range from molecular biology to geography to physics to chemistry, all the sciences you might guess. Also, faculty in economics are interested in using it, faculty in environmental studies, and I imagine once it's established, we'll see faculty from the humanities maybe interested in doing digital humanities projects on it. This computer setup will really be able to handle almost anything you throw at it.
And we've never had this before.
Never had it before.
Yep,
Yep, exactly. So it's just a
That's
tremendous
fantastic.
resource. Yep.
Yeah. So where in the building, I'm trying to figure out where that computer lab's going to be.
Yes, well, space is always a problem on any campus. Those are perennial challenges. So what we're doing is shrinking the foyer, is right now just a student lounge, but with the new beautiful academic commons, agrarian academic commons that we have on campus, it's adjacent to the Henson building, so we have a lot more space for our students to study in over there. So we're going to take most of the foyer, the first floor offline to build the lab, but students were worried about, will I be able to get food? There'll still be a satellite dining space to get some food and have lunch and then get back in the lab.
And when do we expect this to open?
Well, they're shooting for the end of January, so we'll be ready for the fall, the spring semester.
That is
Yep.
very
it's really,
soon.
really happening. Yep.
So you mentioned a little bit about the honors program.
Yep.
I know that the Henson gift will enable us to increase the honors program in science and math. Is that right?
Yes. So about 45% of the honors program is composed of students who are in the Henson School, so science, math, health sciences students. And so this gift, the portion of the gift that will be used for that is going to support student research, thesis research, conference travel, course development, faculty development, working with honors students. It's just that so many students in the honors program are science, math, and healthcare students. It seemed like a good idea to have programs that were a little more tailored to their needs. So we're very excited about that part of the gift.
Well, there's a lot of research and experimentation, and I'm sure to get the dollars to support that, you need help.
You need help. That's right.
Right.
Yep,
So
yep,
that'll
it's-
be great for that. Now, I'm trying to understand the difference between, say, the Bell Advance Honors Program and these new honors colleges that you're talking about. Can you explain that to
Sure.
me?
So the Bell Advance Honors Program, longstanding, renowned honors program on our campus, but it was an honors program. So we're delighted that last fall the program met the criteria nationally from the National Collegiate Honors Council to be an honors college. So it had several criteria that we met. That means it's kind of expanded in its scope. It now involves 500 students, more than 500 students. It's just absolutely exploded under the directorship of Dean Jim Buss. So it couldn't be bigger, it couldn't be better. We're very excited to have that. And then within the Honors College now, there are going to be these more specialized programs. So the business school, Purdue School of Business, just rolled out an honors program. Science and math program will be coming out in the next year or two.
So your Henson School majors
We'll
can
have-
be a part of
right.
this honors college
Exactly.
now.
Exactly, but there'll be
Okay.
a science and mathematics honors program more tailored to their curriculum.
Oh, that's
Exactly.
great.
Yep.
Now, you, I think, mentioned earlier that part of this $2.5 million gift from the Henson Foundation will go to establishing more scholarships.
Yep.
And what else?
So scholarships for sure. That's a challenge for us. I mean, students are always seeking support. College is expensive, but I'll note it's much less expensive at a public comprehensive like Salisbury University than at many other campuses. So we really feel like we bring value for your educational dollar. But scholarships still are a big question from our students. So the Henson Foundation has provided us, 30 years ago, you might have talked about that with Vic. They provided the founding gift with those scholarships. So we're expanding that. And then we're also rolling out, we realize our need to serve local students maybe in a more targeted way. So we're going to pull some of that money aside for transfer students from campuses like Warwick, because in the past we haven't really identified specific money for transfer students. So
that's great.
We're very excited about that, serving our region a little
So
more
there'll be
attentively.
a little more opportunity then for local students
Right.
transferring into SU
Right.
to
They
get
could always
the kind of scholarship
right.
money that
exactly.
they need.
They could always transfer, but now we have some funding targeted for them.
So Henson scholars are beginning to give back, is what I
Yep.
understand,
Yep.
to the college. Can you
Yeah,
tell us a
so
little bit
so
about
that's
that?
pretty cool. And the Henson Foundation is always very interested in their return on investment. What
Sure.
are you seeing as a result of the support they provided us over 30 years? So maybe 3 or 4 years ago, we provided them a list of Henson Scholar alumni and where they've gone off to what to do what, and they're physicians, they're nurses, they're in really any healthcare field. They're some are attorneys, a lot of them are scientists. They work in the environmental fields. A lot of them are teachers, veterinarians. Kind of the list goes on and on. Actuaries, computer science, cyber professionals. So we have just a lot of people go off, and GIS professionals work at Wallops or in the aerospace industry. So we have a lot of our graduates go off into kind of fields that you might expect. But the thing that I'm most excited about is this giving back. So recently we just had a physician from PRMC and wanted to establish a scholarship because he knew that the Henson Scholarship helped him so much. Last February, we had an event for high school students, high school girls to come learn about careers in science, and we had a number of professional women from around the shore that work in the science fields, but we also had a veterinarian who'd been a Henson Scholar. She talked about her experiences, so they're really coming back with their time, talent, and treasure.
That's
which I think is really a great way to close the loop.
And do you have any faculty who have graduated from
Yes,
Henson
we
School?
we have 7 faculty that were Henson Scholars. We have more that were maybe in the Henson School, but specifically supported by those Henson Scholarships. And actually the current interim dean of the Henson School of Science and Technology is Mike Scott, and he was a Henson Scholar himself.
He went
yeah,
to
he was
school
one of
here.
the first, I think. Yep.
Then
So
became a professor, and now he's interim dean.
now he's the interim dean, exactly, among many other accomplishments. Yeah.
That is so great.
Yep.
Any other student successes that you can think of? Any particular ones that have been really meaningful to the college and to our community?
Sure. Well, I think the students, the passion that they bring to their experience and their kind of ability to let themselves be pushed. And I think the honors program in particular does a great job of reaching out to students, especially early on. We have a great story of a student who works in a neuroscience lab who showed up the first day. The honors program told her, go the first day you're on campus to a professor and say you want to do research, and she jumped right in, and she's been doing research since then. But just looking at a couple graduates from the last 2 years, maybe again in the biology realm, one of our students, local student Hannah Enerfelt from Salisbury, is on a Fulbright this year in Sweden doing research in a neuroscience lab there. So she was one of our 4 Fulbright winners last year.
And you had four
Fulbright
scholars from the Henson School.
From the university.
From the university, okay.
Yes, and Hannah was the one from the Henson School. So she'll be going on to a doctoral program when she gets back from Sweden. Julia Howell's another student who's a biology major and an honors student last year, and she was president of the Student Government Association.
I remember
So
her.
yeah, so she's not just in the lab, but she's very engaged across campus, and she's now in a doctoral program. And then a couple years ago, I was just thinking of kind of the powerful female graduates, Henson scholars. We have several of people of all different types, but Amanda Biederman was in the honors program, Henson scholar, and she's in a PhD program at Ohio State, and she's working in Antarctica on kind of cold tolerances and climate change impacts on the physiology of fishes. So, there's just many, many stories like that. Our students achieve outcomes I think that we're all couldn't be prouder of.
And Mr. Henson would be proud
Yes, and
of
he
that
would be,
too.
yes, the
I'm
Henson
absolutely
Foundation
sure.
says
How about
that.
student research?
Yep.
Does this money help that?
Yes, so there is about $750,000 that is earmarked to support student research. And that is an ongoing challenge for us because we want to support students in more extended research experiences, maybe across the summer. And if they're heavily involved in that, they might not have a job, or they might not have enough employment to get the money they need for the next fall. So we want to support them with stipends. Often the supplies are very expensive, or they need money to travel to conferences to present their work. So this most recent gift from the Henson Foundation will provide about $250,000 to support student research, and then there's additional money for the equipment that they use, which is quite a bit.
Well, speaking of equipment, I know that some monies have been given for repairing and replacing some of the equipment.
For equipment, it starts with an E, I always think of extensive. We use it in every department, in every program we use some kind of equipment. It's ever-changing, another E word. Just when you think you're all set up in the lab, a new technology evolves. They call it next generation whatever.
Well, I feel that with my phone.
Yes,
so.
yeah, well, that's true. There's a new app for everything.
Yeah.
And so, we have to keep up with the state of the science, literally. So, so extensive, ever-changing, and expensive. So, you couldn't imagine how much some of these instruments cost. We have probably our most expensive instruments called an NMR, and that's about $450,000 to $500,000. Most instruments that we buy, major pieces of equipment, are more like $10,000 to $100,000. So we really try to be careful in terms of the maintenance of those pieces of equipment, the upgrading of them as possible, but eventually we have to replace some of it. And then there's all sorts of disposables that we need to buy, pretty routinely. And that's really important for our research programs, but Susan, also really important for the learning that our students are doing in the laboratory, parts of their courses, because we want them to go out into the workplace and into graduate school with those hands-on skills that employers in graduate programs are looking for. Do you know how to use this instrument? Have you been in a lab with kind of cutting-edge technologies? And our students are able to show that they have had that experience.
So I think I know the answer to the next question, but tell me what, in your opinion, is the impact of a gift of this magnitude?
Oh, totally transformative. I mean, the public kind of private partnership, the public foundation relationship that we have with the Henson Foundation has been absolutely transformative, from the the initial gift in 1987 to several other gifts, including the Simulation Center. But we would not be where we are today without the support of Dick Henson and the foundation that works in his name. We really owe them a lot.
So if someone out there right now is listening and says, gee, I'd like to give a gift, how do they go about doing it?
Very easy. Just you email the Henson School at salisbury.edu, one word, Henson School, or you could just contact the Salisbury University Foundation. They'd be happy to talk to you. really gifts of any size are appreciated. We have all sorts of opportunities to use gifts in a very effective means.
Yeah,
So
I think we've learned that from talking to you today, that there's so many needs.
there's so many needs and so many, as I said, could be something small, could be a major gift, but I'm sure that we'd be happy to talk to anybody about their interest in that.
Great. Well, so informative today.
Oh,
to
thank you.
Hear all the things going on and all the impact that Henson's gift will have on
Yep.
this campus and in our community. And always good to see you, Karen.
Yes, good to see you, Susan. Thank you
Thanks
so much.
I'd like to thank my guests, Vic Laws, Chair of the Richard A. Henson Foundation Board of Trustees, and Dr. Karen Olmstead, SU Interim Provost and Vice President of Student Affairs. I'm Susan Purnell, and this has been Salisbury University on the Air. Thank you for watching.